feel like a lot of the viewers on both platforms are very dedicated to each platform, and it'd be really hard to capture that audience unless they are platform agnostic, which I don't really see happening on many of those. Because they're on Mixer, they're there for a reason. If they're on Twitch, they're there for a reason. So capturing that audience and transferring it to another platform, and say they don't have an account made on Twitch, that's going to be another hurdle for them to go after, and they're just going to be like, it's not worth my time.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Stream Key Podcast, a weekly show here at TRUgaming where we help you level up your stream and just talk about streaming concepts and hot topics. Today, I have three guests here with us. As usual, we have Vel back on the show. Throw it to you first this time. How's it going, man?
Oh, man, this feels weird. It's going well. How are you?
Good.
I wasn't ready.
That was really forced.
Caught me off guard.
It's good. Sweat. Glad to have you back, man. Joining us again is Sadomi, who's a true partner as well. You've been on a number of times now. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. I forgot my camera was actually over here now. We're usually over here, so I was like, "What's up?" I'm looking off to like the window, like a mook. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Good morning, y'all. Happy Tuesday or Friday. Wow.
Whatever day it is.
Some day of the week. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got the Christmas tree up there, so you're probably in the wrong month still. So I don't blame you.
I mean, to be fair,
Probably
this is
the
the
wrong
best
year.
decoration.
It's pretty cool.
Beautiful tree.
It's pretty cool.
Think about it. Who has a Christmas tree up in July?
Crazy people.
Because I'm late. Promise.
Crazy people.
Okay. You call me crazy.
All right.
You're probably right.
Got to see you again, Sadomi. And last but not least is Whiteshadow, also joining us for a number of times now. White, how's it going?
Dude, it's going great. Having a good day. Glad to be here.
Nice. You have a very green background today.
Yes, that's the Elgato green screen.
Oh, nice.
Yep,
That looks so crisp.
it is crisp, man. It's
Very
so easy to light. Yeah, it's very, very easy to light.
Is it like hard or more like soft?
It's soft. It's like a vinyl.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
Right.
sweet.
Well, with that, we'll get into the show. If you guys haven't seen this, this is, again, a weekly show where you can call in and be a part of the show. So if you have a topic related to Twitch streaming you want to talk about, or Mixer streaming, or D-Live streaming, wherever, you can call in via Discord and come on the show and talk about it with us. I will link that in the chat really quick here. And
Apparently
also,
you're cutting out a little bit is what the chat's saying.
Yeah.
I'm a little quiet apparently. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try to work on that hopefully. Well, Vel, do you want to explain how people can also just type in chat then?
You talking about like for questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, like you guys can type in chat any questions that you have, or you can call in and you get to jump in front of everybody who has a question lined up that typed it out in the chat. So we're here to answer all of your Twitch and streaming related questions for you guys. So ask away. Plenty of room for it today.
All day, yeah. So we'll go through Twitch news really quickly. There's not a lot of it this week, surprisingly. It's like, of all the weeks I've done Twitch news, I feel like this is one of the least. There's just not much news happening this week. But quickly, the biggest thing I found really, in my opinion, which it's not even really news, but Twitch is now advertising on Instagram. I've seen a number of ads. You guys probably have seen them too if they're doing their targeting right. Different types of ads on Instagram. I've seen ads for just, come check out Twitch. It's like TV. I've also seen Twitch Prime ads for things you can redeem on there. Looks like they're playing around with different ideas. And my guess is they're also probably on Facebook because Instagram and Facebook have the same management system for advertising. I haven't seen any on Facebook, but if you guys have, let us know. I would just guess they're probably doing both. I was a little surprised about this because my initial thought was that Facebook wasn't going to let Twitch run ads on Instagram or Facebook because they're kind of a competitor now that Facebook gaming is a thing. But I guess either, Facebook finally caved or Twitch had never tried before and just decided to do it. But in any case, that's really good for streamers because that's more viewers coming to the platform because those ads are really geared at viewers, people who want to watch a game or redeem offers for a game or something. So hopefully that'll kind of boost up some attention in the platform for people who don't already know about it. Have you guys seen ads on Facebook, Instagram, and that stuff in the past couple weeks?
I haven't seen any. Piano Man in the chat says that he's seen them on Facebook though.
Okay, yeah, I don't use Facebook as much, so that's
Right.
probably why I didn't see them, but makes sense. They're on both platforms. I'm really excited about that because Facebook marketing is really, really good. It's worked great for us at True. And, Twitch, I'm sure it can only have a much higher budget to do things like that. So probably see a lot of people coming over that are interested in free game stuff. White, Sadomi, you guys have any thoughts on just them pushing this kind of thing?
I just actually started using Facebook again after about 2 years of just completely abandoning the platform. And I haven't seen Twitch ads on there, but give it like a week. Probably because I think my search history is going to be like, all right, cool. You like Twitch games and like other stuff I can't see on the stream. Cool, we're gonna give you those ads. So I'll probably see them in a few weeks anyway.
Gotcha. Cool. White, you have any thoughts?
I've actually seen a lot on both Instagram and Facebook, and I kind of see it as Twitch trying to capture the Facebook live market, because you see it a lot more. I actually saw an ad on the side of one of the live streams, which I thought was
for Twitch.
Yeah, for Twitch, which I thought was hilarious. But
interesting,
because on some of the live streams, Facebook actually will put ads, and Twitch had one like at the very top. So
right. See, that's why I thought that Facebook would block it, because it's kind of a competitor. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to have, if you're watching a Facebook live stream and there's an ad for Twitch on the sidebar. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I also think like Facebook won't knowing how some companies work, I don't think those two like companies talk to each other. Like the who the ad, who's selling the ad space versus who's actually running like Facebook Live and all that. So they could just not know, and then someone will get yelled at in corporate in a few like 2-3 months. Probably. Because someone's like, "Why are they advertising Twitch on Facebook Live? Are they stupid?" And be like, "Well, we didn't know what Twitch was. How'd you not?"
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. See, that's my thing with so I've talked a couple times on here about how I've seen Mixer ads on YouTube recently, and I don't know that YouTube would let Twitch advertise on that platform because of a similar reason. That's even more similar, I would say, than Facebook, since Facebook has a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. Again, it could be just that Twitch, for some reason, has never advertised on YouTube, but hopefully they'll break into that or something will happen there. But I just thought that was really good to mention because it's more people coming to Twitch, more viewers overall on the platform, more people know about Twitch. So that's cool to see. Besides that, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff this week. If you guys had something, I know Vel mentioned he maybe found just a topic, or is it actually a news thing?
Yeah, just kind of like a small discussion thing, I guess. Ninja was talking about how people don't compare like the top streamers to like the top like people in any other industry, basically. So like you can't compare like Ninja to Drake, or like Ninja to Bill Burr and stand-up comedy or something like that. That like they don't get like nobody stops supporting Drake because he's making too much money, or Tom Segura, who's another good stand-up comedian, something like that. But like people will stop supporting streamers because they sit there and play video games all day. So like they see the success of somebody just playing video games and they stop supporting that person financially, I guess. But also I think he has a really skewed view on it because, he did blow up quite a bit. So he's probably used to a certain way of living for a few months. And then, the hype kind of died down for him. So I think he's a little butthurt still, and well, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting topic.
Well, I know in the past he had this thing where that was a thing. People were not subbing to him because they feel like he didn't need the money. I don't know if maybe that flared up again a little bit for some reason, and that's why he's talking about it. But I understand where he kind of comes from there. And I think he's right. You compare it to other industries, and no one's refusing to go see a show for a comedian or whoever because they're making too much money. That's definitely true. So, Sadomi or White, you guys have any thoughts on that?
You first, White.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Okay, I'll go first. All right, so like honestly, the way I always put it is, people can spend the money however they want to, their money. And if someone wants to stop supporting you because you make too much money, well then there's something you got to fix if you want that back. I mean, to be fair, there are people, and I've worked in retail a long time, I've just given up completely on people.
Sure.
But I do understand from his position, like, wow, really? You're just gonna, because you think I make too much money? It's not that much money. But really though, people are gonna do what they want with their money. They're gonna do things they want to do. Like I've definitely unsubbed from people just because I know like I'm not like their first sub or second sub, or just because of like different life circumstances. People can do what they want with their money, so I'm never like too like, oh, you should keep supporting this person because it's your money. You can buy a Lamborghini, you can buy 10 piles of dog crap. It's your money. You can do what you want with it. Literally.
Dibs on dog crap.
Okay.
Dog crap.
Yep.
Something that Belv says in chat is that the difference is that you can watch a streamer for free, but you can't see a live show for free in most circumstances. Yep. That's kind of interesting to think about.
I was just about to say that. Like, when it comes to, okay, so him comparing it to someone like Drake. Okay, so look at an artist or look at just any type of performer. They're always innovating their craft in a way that it's going to be different than, a little bit different than live streaming. So like Ninja, for instance, he sits there and he plays the same game. I can see how people's mentality would be like, okay, well, it's not a song. It's not different than what you did on, let's say, like a previous CD or something like that. Of course, they're going to have to pay to go to a show. They have to pay for those albums or the Spotify membership, the streaming membership that they in turn get paid for. I think as a streamer of that level, you have to start thinking about how to innovate and change up some stuff in order to keep people entertained. Because doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again gets stagnant. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Do you have an example of somebody who's like done that?
Look at I as much as I hate to use it, look at Dr. Disrespect. Like he puts on the persona every day. Look at Lyric. He does a bunch of different stuff with like different games. He does RP servers, and then he's always changing like every week. So he has new fresh content to provide. I've seen him sit there and review. He goes through like the Twitch list. He browses through everything, and he'll give reviews on people now. Look at what Summit 1G, what he's done with what's that game, the pirate game, Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a lot of stuff with Sea of Thieves and people with different platforms. So he plays with a lot of people on Mixer. He's kind of culturizing himself that way. Then you look at Ninja, and it's like the same content 90% of the week. So I think like you got to diversify yourself in order to retain all of that.
At the same time, though, I feel like Ninja kind of felt he found something that worked, and he just doubled down on it as much as he could.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, I think maybe he'll have to change it eventually. It's not gonna work forever, but I don't think it's wrong to reinforce something that's working as much as you can. And actually, I saw him talk about. I saw a clip. I can't remember where I saw it, but he was talking about just mental health with streamers or something, and how like some streamers just hate the game they're playing, and like that's a scary feeling to try and go to something else that you want to play for more fun, but then you're gonna lose all your viewers. And he was saying he's very fortunate because he just genuinely still enjoys Fortnite, despite a lot of people being sick of that game. He actually enjoys it, so it's not like he's being forced to play it. He still somehow enjoys it after playing it for that long. I don't enjoy it after playing it for 4 hours, but more power to you, Ninja. So for you.
It's like I'm not sitting there knocking him for playing one game.
Yeah,
I'm just saying like figure out a different way to kind of entertain the content instead of competitive all the time.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying? For
sure, you're gonna have to be able to show some sort of different skills there eventually, because probably your skill in a game won't last forever either as you get older. So that's a good point.
And one thing I think that does kind of work that Tim the Tatman does is he'll even diversify exactly what he does when he plays Fortnite. Like sometimes he'll queue up with different people like Nick Merckx, Courage, or I forget his name, or he'll do like random duos, which is the funniest thing sometimes. So even just diversifying within a small like niche like that, I do think Ninja needs to like make some adjustments at some point. Again, I don't really watch him, so I can't say I don't know firsthand what he does, but
it's like that thing he did with Tim the Tatman, Dr. Lupo, and I think Courage, where they played Uno live on stream. That was hilarious. I actually watched that entire thing, but it was hilarious. So like different stuff like that would be fun.
Yeah. So just mixing things up and trying to find.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like it's gonna be a risk to try new things if you already have something that's working. But I think in the long run, it can definitely pay off to make sure that you have something long term that'll work. Cool. Good discussion. Thanks for finding that, Vel. Good topic there. So that is all the news for this week. Pretty bare bones. If you guys want to call in, now is a great time. You can also ask questions in the chat. Just tag @TRUgaming so we see it there in the red, bold lettering. I also have some questions from offline we'll go through while we're waiting for you guys to get those questions in. You can call in to the server as well. Okay, so the first topic we had was from Discord, and it's from someone called Brian's Live. This is kind of a long question, so bear with me here for a sec. He says, what do you guys think about not becoming a Twitch affiliate or partner and staying independent? Why be forced to only stream on one platform once you are partnered? Services like Patreon, as well as networking and affiliate marketing, should all be part of your ongoing business plan from day one. And what about a business plan? So basically, his idea was, do you think it's viable to sort of, not get affiliate on Twitch, not get partner, so that you can multi-stream on many platforms and try to hit more platforms long term? I'm curious what you guys think about this concept. I'll start with Vel on this one.
Okay, so switching to a different platform and you said just doing it like 1 day a week, right?
No, that's a different question. This one is,
sorry, my bad.
Yeah, this guy literally was just talking about basically multi-streaming every day, all the time, to every platform you can. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have to pay attention to like multiple chats, which I think will be really confusing for people who for one, you can't expect everybody to know that you're streaming to multiple things all the time. So you're going to be responding to chat that other chats aren't seeing, which I think is going to be kind of confusing. I don't know. I feel like it would just make it, for me, I'd just be too swamped with all the things going on. So I would just stick to one and just kind of like work on harnessing that, to be honest.
I gotcha. So Domi, you recently, you've messed around with Mixer a good bit here. What are your kind of thoughts on this concept?
So I flip-flopped because at first I agreed with Veli completely on that. You have to focus on multiple chats. You have different things to work on, but that, I mean, no offense to Vel when I say this, but
wow, dude, wow.
That no, you'll see what I mean. But when I'm gonna say that's more because I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it well. There's somebody else who does it, but I'm not gonna snitch just in case any Twitch mods are watching. So but someone does it really well, and it made me realize that if that's your mindset, you have to I have to focus on this many chats. I'm like, don't. Okay, so get it done. Do it. This person does it really well, and they have so much going on in their stream too, where I'm surprised they could keep up with everything, but I've seen them have a much bigger base than their numbers show, and that's actually the coolest thing ever. And after playing on Mixer for a little bit and knowing how Mixer partnership, you can stream to other platforms. Twitch is the only one that's exclusive from what I've known.
Yeah. If you're a partner on Mixer, do you have some sort of exclusivity?
No.
Okay.
As long as Mixer is your main platform, they care zero.
See that those, I know it's vague, but if you're multi-streaming every time, technically Mixer is not your main platform,
Well, so there's a Mixer partner who I'm good friends with. Tells me some inside stuff. Not going to snitch again. I got sources, but pretty much from what I've heard is, I guess, as long as you rep Mixer well, because Mixer's still trying to grow, still trying to get people, so they really don't care as much for Twitch partners. Because this person was also a Twitch partner at one point, and the minute they press go live on Mixer, they got an email yo, come here. But also they had sent support emails for Twitch for years and got no responses, so that person was yeah, Twitch is a bunch of
interesting
words. So
they don't care until you're stepping on them a little bit.
Yeah, they don't care until you're messing with their money. So they're a really aggressive pimp that doesn't even offer I don't even.
That's the best description of Twitch I've ever heard, I think.
Really aggressive pimp.
Yep. That's what I think of when I think Twitch. So, but you're kind of in favor. So you can't name drop the person that does this multi-streaming. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
I can DM it to you. You know who it is.
I have a hunch, but my reason for saying that is I think if you have an example of someone who does it well, what does that person do? Because I think this person's main thing is, the monetization and business plan of a stream. So does this person still make it work despite being on all these platforms?
From what I've seen, mind you, I don't because we all know what's on the camera is different than what's in the books / what's on the table. So what I see on the camera and what I've spoken to them about, it works. It works.
Interesting.
They said it works, so I'll take that word at it.
Right. Yeah, I think we don't know. There's not a lot of people who do this strategy that I can think of. It feels like everybody who's on Twitch is either an affiliate or partner at this point, and not many people would choose to avoid that. Besides Snoop, who just can't get his button bad. That's a whole different thing. But I don't know. I just haven't seen a lot of people do it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it though. White, what are your thoughts on this concept?
I think when it comes to multi-streaming, you kind of got to gauge, do you want to be a Twitch partner, or do you want to be a Twitch affiliate, or do you want to do multi stuff? That's kind of what you have to gauge. You need to figure out where you want to be at as a content creator. I can see the draw to streaming to multiple things. Yeah, I want my brand to be everywhere because that's more of an audience I can capture. But like Vel said, how are you going to juggle all of that? You got to think of it in that aspect. Can you multitask that many chats? Because what if you're streaming to DLive, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer all at the same time, and you're pulling 50 people in each chat? That's a lot of people you got to juggle on multiple different platforms. That's something you need to think about. In terms of monetization, like what Sadomi was talking about, I know a few people that do it and are doing very, very well, if not better than they have done on Twitch. So there's a draw on both sides. It's just, as a content creator, you got to gauge what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it if for some reason it just explodes in your face.
Yeah.
So there's a draw to it, definitely. Would I try it right now? Probably not, because I really enjoy my time on Twitch, but I can see why people do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I think there's probably not a right or wrong answer here. I would say to Brian, if you're interested in trying it, you should definitely go for it because it might work out for you. And I think, like these guys have said, there are a few people out there who have made this system work, just to be smart about it. And I think, kind of like Sadomi said, I don't think the many chats thing, yes, it can be kind of daunting, but I think there's programs out there that will merge all the chats for you, so just you can see everything happening on one little screen. And so that's not too bad. People might be a little confused who you're talking to sometimes, but on your end, you can probably handle it. So I don't know. It's a matter of what you want to do. I think there is value in choosing one platform, even though it's kind of counterintuitive because, I'm missing out on 4 platforms and 4 times as many people, right? But by choosing one platform that kind of strengthens your brand, it's kind of like that niche and identity type thing where you get associated with that and people know that about you. So I don't know. It's a good question though. I'd be curious to see more examples of people who have done that successfully. And I think maybe we'll see more of it come in the future because it seems like the newer platforms are moving away from exclusivity. So that might continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good question from Brian. Thank you for that. We have some more questions in the actual chat here. So let me go up and grab some of those. So Sestrioto, I think I said that right, hopefully, said, on the topic of diversity, there are those that watch all the season of Friends and repeat every day, but then other people can't watch the same show all day. Oh, that's not a question. That's just a comment. Okay. Real question here is from Piano Man. Sorry about that, Sess. Says, as a speedrunner, I find myself having a lot of success retaining my viewers, but having trouble reaching new viewers due to being a slightly niche game. Do you have any suggestions on how I can spread awareness while keeping with the game I love and having poured countless hours into? Interesting. Yeah, so basically, as a speedrunner, you get really associated with that one game and really, you become an expert at that game. So it makes sense people love to watch you once they find you because you're very good at it. But then it's hard to kind of break into new games if it's an older game or there's just not as much attention for it. Have any of you guys, maybe Sadomi or Whiteshadow, have you played around with, you kind of niche into one game. White's really heavy into Halo. Sadomi, for a while, you were very associated with Rocket League.
Okay, I was about to smack you there.
For a while, okay?
I was about to.
My point being, so these games are still, I would probably say more, there's more of an audience than a lot of speedrunning games, but still you feel that struggle of, I'm associated with one game. How do I branch into other games while still retaining the viewers I have? So maybe starting with White, what are your kind of thoughts for Piano Man here?
So prior to getting back into Halo, I did a lot of Destiny, which is another Bungie title, as you guys know. I'd say stay with the same style of game, because people are going to be more apt to say, okay, this is kind of similar to what you were playing. Let's try speedrunning. Let's watch them speedrun this one. Like Destiny and Halo, they're kind of synonymous with each other. They're both first-person shooters. They both have a very competitive aspect. So it's easy for me to just kind of transition into it. Yeah, you're probably going to lose a little bit of viewers because they do like to watch that one game and want to see you stream that game. Some people are there just for the game. Some people are there just for you. It is a gamble. You sometimes your viewership's going to fall, but just have fun with it, dude. If you're having fun with it and you're really enjoying speedrunning a new game, then people are still going to come watch you. So, I mean, that's what I have to say on that one.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like, so this particular question, he's not burnt out of the game, it sounds like, but he's just more concerned in, I've kind of hit the cap of my directory, right? So where do I go from here? Sadomi, what would you say to Piano Man?
So I'm a weird person to answer this question. When I first started streaming back in 2017, I was strictly Rocket League, and a few things here and there to like spice it up. And now I try to keep Rocket League off my stream as much as possible. But it's very similar to getting rid of an addiction, because if you stream like the one game you're comfortable with that you're used to doing, you'll get, I don't want to say, you'll get better numbers, better interactivity, things that are better. We try something new, and you get that hit of like, do I suck? So it's for me, a personal struggle has just been like, what can I do to keep the people who are strictly like, oh, you're playing Rocket League? Cool, I'm here. Versus just like, oh, you're doing something else? Okay, I'm never gonna, no. So it's, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for it, 'cause I'm trying to figure it out myself. But if you find one out, let me know.
Gotcha. Okay, so Vel, what are your thoughts for Piano Man on this?
I think they both made really good points. I think that sticking to your genre is really huge on keeping viewers that might not, like, they might mostly care about the game style. Oh my god. What's up, everybody? I'm Vel, and I'm here. I'm taking over. You put me over green space too, that'd be great. But anyway, what was I saying? I forget. Okay, so this is really weird. Anyway,
they made good points.
Yeah, they make good points. Thank you. Oh my god, sticking to the same genre is very, very useful as far as like people who might not care as much about you as they do the game that you're playing, because they haven't had enough time to connect with you as a streamer yet. So I think sticking with that genre is key. But then, oh man, that really threw me off. But like Sadomi said, there's really no like set way to do it. So I would just say, do whatever you feel is fun for you, and just try to have as much fun as possible, and keep putting your name out there, do stuff on social media, on YouTube, everything that you can. Try to engage some comedy into it if you can, for like some YouTube highlights or Instagram highlights. That way people can be like, oh, this guy's funny, maybe we should go check him out. Like, I don't really care about the game that he's playing, but at least I had a good time watching this 30-second clip on Instagram or something like that. You know what I mean? There's really no set way. It's just making sure you're having fun and just putting your name out and on as many things as possible, especially with something like that.
Yeah, that last part actually would be my biggest advice. So since Piano Man sounds like he's not burnt out of the game, speedrunning, and it's working for people who already watch, my first question would be, are you hitting other platforms? So speedrunning in particular is really good for YouTube. People like to watch those back and have the records. And then my guess is if people find you on YouTube, they'll want to see the live thing happening too. So that's probably a good way to move people over to Twitch if you want to. Instagram's probably not bad. Probably going to events as well. If you can go to some of the bigger speedrunning events and just get your name out there can help. So there's a lot of ways you can just reach beyond Twitch. And I think that's just good strategy for anybody looking to expand their audience, is think beyond Twitch. It's actually something I want to talk about later, because I talked to both White and Vel about this recently. So I'll kind of we'll break this down later in the show, but moving beyond Twitch as a streamer and content creator, I think that'll be the biggest advice for you, Piano Man, is try to look into that and maybe find more ways and more avenues to put your stuff out there. Maybe it could be guides, could be highlight videos, wherever you want to do that. But good question, man. Appreciate that. Okay, we've much appreciate. Yeah, dude, that threw me off too with the faces. I totally lost that train.
It's like right in the middle. I was like just like finishing up, like
super serious talk.
My thought.
Conjuring, Wizardville. All right. Next question is from Steamer, who says, "For Green and his guests," that sounds so formal. If you're on the Twitch development team, what changes / improvements would you make to the Twitch platform? Ooh, interesting
question.
Do we have a budget limit?
Listening?
No.
Listening right now? Listen up.
No budget limit, from what I'm understanding. So, Sadomi, you have thoughts?
No budget limit. Good God.
You gotta give me a second because you said no budget, so I'm trying to be.
All right. Let me start with my biggest thing then, since you said Green and the guests. So, I mean, my biggest problem with Twitch right now is discoverability. I think that is probably like the biggest issue for streamers on Twitch, and viewers could be a whole different thing. But just think about how hard it is to find new streams on Twitch versus YouTube. I mean, I feel like I'm finding new YouTube channels that I love every single day, just from recommended videos and people linking stuff. And the algorithm on YouTube is really good at recommending you stuff. It's a little trickier on Twitch because if like you can't put a sidebar there that says, you know, check this streamer out while someone else is live, then that's not going to go so well. But they could build some sort of better system for finding new people, or maybe like trending channels, or some way to highlight people, because I think that's the issue we're running into. To go back to Piano Man's question, his question is, you know, how do I bring new people to watch me? Well, you got to go to YouTube to do that. You can't do it on Twitch. So I feel like that's a big problem they got to work on. And I don't know the exact solution of how they do it, but I think having more discoverability in some way would help a lot with Twitch. I'd like to see a lot of budget poured into that if I were on the Twitch team, because that'll also increase their revenue and increase, you know, new people, more content on the platform. There's a lot of wins for that. But Sadomi, now that you've had time to gather your thoughts, what would you say?
Okay. So I have three things, okay? The first one, encoding for everybody. First
yeah,
thing.
that'd be nice.
Second thing, I got this idea from a campsite, but I really liked it when I thought about it. Not a like system, but kind of a was this stream satisfactory like system. Okay, so let's say you've been, and you have to be watching for at least like 15 minutes or something. You get to press like a button that says, was the stream satisfactory? Was it good quality? Was it entertaining? Did it follow all the TOS rules? And press that button, and that'll help figure into some kind of algorithm so you can find random streamers, like a random button, but not necessarily get those streams with, like, you know, that one person sitting there with a shirt off with his mic sounds like he put it through a washing machine and is speaking the next room over. This dude doesn't know what lighting is. His camera is a $500 camera, but he has $2 lighting. So yeah, pretty much to kind of get you, and also use that for affiliate going forward.
Interesting. So it kind of relates to discoverability stuff in terms of just identifying kind of on the rise streams or promising streams.
Yeah, and the last thing too, actually I forgot the second thing, so I was supposed to do the third thing, but the second thing was getting the delay to near instant. You can do that. If Mixer can do it, Twitch can do it.
Vel, your idea stolen. All right, well, I'll give you a second to think of new ones. We never should have brought this guy on the show.
Said was like, God damn it, dude.
You gotta go first, man. I give you a chance. All right, so Whiteshadow, if you haven't had your answers stolen, or maybe you agree with someone that already said something, what would you say to this?
I would go back to and look at the tagging on Twitch. I think it is god awful. It is probably one of the worst things. Like, they took away communities, which was actually pretty useful. A lot of people were using them into tags, and I'd love to see a statistic on how people are using tags to discover streams, because I don't think it's being utilized. I think on the front page there, like if say when you sign up for Twitch, there needs to be a way that you say like, "Oh, I like these things," and a tagging option, kind of like YouTube. And then on the front page, there needs to be like recommended based upon your tags. That could be a discoverability thing. So if you're like watching speedrunning, or you're a big Halo fan, or you like to watch Rainbow Six Siege or something like that, it'll give you recommendations based upon a certain aspect of Siege. So like if you like to watch competitive streams, it'll show you nothing but competitive style streamers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In terms of like what Sadomi said on Mixer, if you go look at what Mixer has done with like FTL, the way their streams have zero latency, almost virtually zero latency, I think that would be a great option for Twitch. Overall, just a little bit easier improvements in terms of like just discovering a streamer. I think everything on Twitch needs to be cleaned up just a little bit more, because some of the stuff they add feels like they just threw money at it and tossed it onto the website. And it's like halfway broken. I feel like they need to clean it up just a little bit.
Yeah. I think that also benefits viewers a lot too. Like we say this kind of from the perspective of streamers, because, you know, more people checking out your stream, but it also gives viewers more people that are new to watch. And I think viewers kind of get tired of seeing the same people all at the same time. And it's not easy to find new ones. So that could help a lot of people all around. They did, before I forget, they did say they're making improvements to the search tool. I think at TwitchCon EU, they announced that. So that could be good. Like right now, you think about the search tool on Twitch, and it's just a drop-down menu of like 4 channels or something. There's no actual page. It just kind of gives you suggestions. But imagine if like you search something on Twitch and you have the whole YouTube type page where it's a list of channels and descriptions and info and like maybe trending things, views. That could be a lot, honestly, to just go a long way for discoverability. So hopefully we'll see something like that. Vel, now that you have a chance to think of new ideas or just double down on what you already had, what would you say?
I mean, okay, so Arctics actually said something in the chat that I thought was really cool. Is working on refining and coding would be really cool. Because if you think about it, like they've done a lot as far as like adding new things to Twitch and everything, but they haven't done a lot as far as, you know, working on like what you need to be able to be a streamer. Like you need like pretty decent like hardware, but like they made it so where it didn't require as much like power. You could be doing it like way earlier on with a way better quality, you know, than like having to like build up to like get to that point eventually. So if it would just, I guess, open it up to more people and make it easier on people's machines and everything, so you don't have to buy 2 computers to stream a game and have it look awesome. You know what I mean?
Right. And again, it even kind of improves the viewer experience too if you have like more transcoding and things like that. Because I think you guys probably have all had people in your stream who can't watch because they're on data or their PC is having issues or something. That stuff happens too. So it's really streamers and viewers benefit from that. Like, cool. Awesome, Steiner. Well, thanks for the question, man. Good, unique question. That was fun to answer. Next one is from True Bucket Official, the one and only. He's chilling over here to my left right now. I don't know how he typed that, but he said, what advice would you give to a father and full-time bucket when it comes to breaking into the streaming market? Do you think picking a single day per week for a set schedule is better, or would you be jumping on whenever you can, possibly beneficial in trying to grow initially? So when you're starting out, let's say like you can commit to 1 day a week, or you can just kind of stream whenever you have the chance and your time is limited. What would you say to this, Whiteshadow?
As a father, it is really, really hard to gauge time on when to stream, especially when you have 2 kids. Biggest thing for me was sitting down, time blocking, and figuring out a schedule for when I can sit down and do my thing. Because content creation is like a big part of what I do. I do YouTube stuff, I do streaming, and of course, I'm always getting tech questions. So I'm trying to like research and help people with tech. So you need to time block. If you can only stream 1 day a week, make sure you can sit down and do it. And if you have to, get childcare involved or have somebody watch the kids. Like I've got childcare now. I have the kids watched while I'm able to sit down and do it. And then after I'm done here, I go and spend the rest of the day with the kids. But if you're only able to stream 1 day a week, that's a great way to get started. If it starts blowing up, maybe find a way to get the kids taken care of. Just make sure your kids are your main priority, though, because that's your family. The stream can come later.
Mhm.
There have been days that I streamed after the kids went to bed, and it was like 2 or 3 hours, but that's 2 or 3 hours that I was able to dedicate after the kids were in bed to the channel. But just make sure they come before stream does, because they are way more important than streaming is.
Yeah, that's actually, I saw a good thread about that on the Twitch subreddit this week. But moving on to Sadomi, what would you say to someone who's limited on time and they're kind of stuck between this question?
So I have a full-time 40-hour week job where I don't have a set schedule for work at all. Like I work anytime between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and usually for 8 or 9 hours at a time. Also, there's a really very interesting person next to you, Green. You should watch your back.
Ah.
I think he's got a knife.
Got a knife? Yikes.
Anyway, so what I do is, if you can find a set time is always better, and use the time you're not streaming to improve stream, because in my opinion, the worst way to grow is with the Twitch directory, because it's not going to happen. So if you use that time elsewhere to work on stream stuff, work on networking, whatever else you want to work on, do that, because I think the least productive time you have is when you're actually streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Interesting. Vel, what are your thoughts on this?
I think having that one set day could be very beneficial. I think it's a good idea. And then use the rest of the time, like Sadomi was saying, to do behind the scenes stuff. And then if you can throw in some extra streams, like, why not? You know, like you're only working on becoming a better streamer. Like, it's not going to help you grow as much as having a set schedule, but you'll be more used to streaming and being able to pay attention to chat and everything. So yeah, like use that one day as like, this is my scheduled day, and then I stream at basically incredibly random times throughout the week sometimes if I don't need to like do any behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I do like Tuesdays at 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. or something, whatever works for you, man.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. I think you don't have to have either or. You can have a mix of it. So if you have that one day a week where you can be live, that's better than having no days a week that you can be live. And then also just splicing in extra time when you have the chance. But like Sadomi said, it's also important to not feel like streaming is the only way you can grow your stream. There's a lot of ways you can do that with making YouTube videos and Instagram content and podcasts. And what's great about that kind of stuff is it's not so time dependent. Like, you can step away from editing a YouTube video for a sec to, make the kids lunch or something and then come back to it, versus streaming where that happens. The stream is just sitting there. Nothing's happening for 10 minutes. So sometimes that can actually help you a lot. And I think this also relates to the thing I want to get into in a bit about moving beyond Twitch. But in general, I hope that's helpful to you with your question there. That was a good one. And thank you guys for answering it. Next one comes from, I think there's a lot of comments. Piano Man was going to ask about the tag system, and then we completely covered that already. So that's good. Actually, it might be all the questions in the chat right now, I think. Okay. Yeah, so questions in the chat are good. If you guys want to ask more, wide open right now. We have some more in the server. Let me make sure we don't have any callers. We do not. Cool. Going back to some other questions from last week. Steamer. So Steamer's been messaging me a bit for a request for Twitter info for like a whole episode on Twitter. And I think we're going to do that. But I wanted to go ahead, since we have this week, and talk about Twitter in general and kind of give some quick thoughts on it, particularly in terms of, new streamers coming to Twitter, what they're doing wrong, and sort of what you guys think is the best way to use Twitter now you've been using it for a while in conjunction with your stream. I'll throw this to Vel first. Okay.
So worst things that you can do, I guess, are like join like streamer retweet groups. I remember those were like I don't know if they're still a big thing, but they were definitely a big thing when I first started streaming. And those will not do a single thing for you. Like, don't put like hashtag like retweet or anything like that. Any sort of weird gimmick. I was invited to like just like a random like DM like a group yesterday, and the first thing one person said when they got in there was, "Hey, can you follow me on this? I'm trying to get to 200 followers." Like, and everybody was just like, no. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to help you at all. So that comes with being genuine. So I think being genuine on Twitter is huge. As like, just have regular conversations with people. It's not just about promoting yourself. It's another way of expressing who you are. And if somebody clicks with that, then they will probably go check out your channel. It's not all about like, hey, I'm a streamer. Also, like say this funny thing real quick, like a lot of people do, but just be real and just have conversations with people, have really, just in-depth chats and, get to meet new people. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. Sadomi, what would you say about Twitter? Wrong ways to use it and right way to use it.
So I think you should use your Twitter either as your stream's personality Twitter or personal Twitter, but not do both. Do one or the other. Because for me, I use my Twitter as a personal Twitter. I do post when I go live, but I don't focus my entire Twitter game around like, hey guys, follow me, I'm really cool. I'm like, no, I use it to connect with people, to like talk with people, to shoot down dumbass ideas. I kind of like having a place where people know, if you want my like raw thoughts about something, I put it on Twitter. And since Twitter's one thing about Instagram I hate is I'm not a photo person. I hate taking photos. I have a photo eye. I hate my phone. So so with Twitter, I can just sit down, type some thoughts, and that's it. I can respond to people's thoughts like super easy. So I say a lot of people kind of go too hard in the like streamer part, because as much as everyone would love to know when you go live, that's all your Twitter is. No one's else gonna. They see a tweet from you, it's like, oh, it's going live. Oh, it's going live. Always going live. But if you post like some funny once in a while, something like real, some like, actual interaction, then people won't see your tweet and be like, they'll read it before they skip it. Then they see your going live tweet, then they might skip it. But there's a lot less chance of them skipping it if you actually post actual things, not just, hey, I'm going live.
Yeah, so using it more than just a billboard, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I got you. White, I know you've been a part of these groups when you started out, or some sort of groups. What would you say to people like this?
Just be careful. Seriously.
He says it like a defeated man.
Dude, no, like...
After the war.
I've seen... back in Nam, okay? I've seen some literal stupid stuff happen on Twitch. I've actually... me and Green have talked in the background. I tried to expose like some stupid things that have happened. I made videos on Instagram about it. One thing I see on Twitter happen a lot is people tag like Vlog said, tons of retweet stuff, and it's just like you get retweeted by other retweet things, and it's not real interaction. Like it's not people that are going to come watch your stream. It's just, oh hey, I've got 47 likes, but they're all from retweet accounts. Yeah, that's not going to do me any good. So don't do that, and don't fill up, because we have 280 characters, I think now. Don't leave it all hashtags. That's a no-no. I've seen that happen, or like adding tons of big streamers or other accounts and stuff. Terrible. Terrible practices on Twitter. In terms of what I've found that works for me, this may not work for everybody, is I get a clip of my stream now. So some stupid no-scope or funny moment that happens on the stream, I take a clip of it and I add that I download it and add it as a video on my going live tweet. And what I found is like that creates engagement on the tweet, and people click on it and are like, dude, I'm going to come see if this guy can pull that off again. You know what I'm saying? So, and I posted that to Facebook. I posted it on Instagram. I've been utilizing multiple social media as well as Twitter, and I've seen my engagement go up in that aspect. But also vice versa, Twitter is a social media platform. So instead of just posting go live, go live, go live, go live, if I go on your Twitter and I see nothing but going live tweets, there's no engagement with other accounts. Go on other people's accounts and just talk to people. It's like what I watch a lot of Gary Vee. He says, go on Twitter and just literally talk to people. It's a social media platform. Get to know other people. They'll come interact with you and check your stuff out. And 9 times out of 10, they will be scrolling through your feed and see, hey, this guy's a Twitch streamer. And they'll probably come check you out. So use it in a social aspect to get to know people instead of, hey, I'm live, come watch me. Does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that you mentioned using media too. So whether it's videos or pictures, that always helps your tweet get more engagement. That's literally been proven by science. So do that when you can. Science. I have a lot of thoughts on Twitter, and I do want to go into a long form episode on it eventually, like Steamer asked for. But some quick things. I think the biggest thing is people need to think about what they're doing with Twitter and why they're using it. I think a lot of new streamers will think of Twitter as a way to get new people to watch your stuff. But I'm curious. So for me personally, I found exactly 0 streamers to watch that are new on Twitter. Have you guys ever gone to watch a stream off of Twitter? Anybody here?
Yeah, I've followed people's accounts from clips they've posted or something, or like pictures they've posted.
Right, but have you
like,
watched them
frequent
live?
Streams.
Yep. That's my point.
Now, also, I will say, because we are streamers, we are very ingrained in the Twitch like streaming space. We see a lot more going live tweets than the average person.
It's true.
So it's not as interesting for us. In fact, it's kind of mundane. Like, it's the most mundane stuff. It's like if someone drank a glass of water for us.
So my point is, I think there is value in posting going live tweets, but here's the thing. It's for your people who already follow you. It's not for new people to come check you out. Because you think about how the average person is using Twitter. No one's going to these hashtags, support small streamers, whatever, and going to watch new channels. Yeah, exactly. You just want to follow us back. No viewers are going through there to look for new people to watch. It's just not going to happen. So don't use Twitter that way. Twitter is... Earlier, I talked about how discoverability platforms are good beyond Twitch, but I didn't mention Twitter. I talked about YouTube, Instagram, because that's not what Twitter is for. Twitter is more of like connecting with your existing people, and like White and Sadomi said, just creating discussions in kind of the space you're in, whether that's people that you know or just people that do kind of similar things. I wrote an article recently, and one of my biggest tips is just to ask open-ended questions on Twitter. You'll see that work really well on Twitter. If it's just, there's no hashtags, there's no social media posts, there's no whatever. It's just a question, and it creates conversation. That's the kind of thing that will kind of do more for your Twitter account. So again, I could go on Twitter on a long time, but basically use it as a way to inform your existing followers and just talk to people about things. Don't use it as a billboard. Don't use it to find new people, because that's not going to happen with Twitter. Cool. My general thoughts on Twitter. Good question from Steamer, and hopefully we can go into a longer form discussion on that soon, so stay tuned. I know you'd like that pretty soon. Next question is from Sestrio2 again. Says, Green mentioned starting a podcast among YouTube content and other platforms. How would a new streamer start a podcast and work on topics? How long should a cast be? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. So we're lucky because all 3 of you guys have worked on either this podcast or your own podcast at some point. And I'll actually start with Sadomi because you continue to do your own podcast, right?
Yep. I'm on a short hiatus while I'm rebranding because I love the title of my podcast, but it's a bad title. So, but
okay, but you have found time to do it. I don't know you put a lot of time into thinking through questions and formatting and stuff. So, what's your kind of advice to someone who is thinking about starting a podcast but is worried about the time or just the involvement with it?
So if I'm correct, if your PC is good is like fast enough at rendering, a podcast should take double the time it takes to record to get it out there. So if you make a 15-minute podcast, you should be able to get it out in 30 minutes. If you make an hour podcast, you get out in 2 hours.
You're talking just rendering or the whole thing?
Oh no, the whole process.
Okay.
At least for what I do. So it's I think it's really easy content to make, but it's not the easiest to make good. You have to practice it. Like the best way to put it, even Joe Rogan, he said he made 1,000 episodes of his podcast. Those things are like 2, 3, something like 6 hours long. and he said, even I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here just talking. And this man does stand-up comedy, does hosting, and with anything, it's practice. So the more you do it, the more you put out there, the better you'll get. So don't worry about having a crappy first episode. My first episode was great, but it was horrible. And as you go back, you were going to say your old work is going to be like, oh yeah, that was bad. I do much better now. Next thing you know, you're making a 30-minute show podcast that's a banger. So people put it on, they can't wait for the next episode. They're just listening, and it's going deep. And with a podcast, for me, what I wanted to was find a theme, not necessarily a niche, because with a theme you have a lot more flexibility. With a niche, you kind of stay in that niche, and that niche dies, you got to start a whole new show.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you mentioned your hiatus, so it'll take some trial and error. It's not going to be perfect right off the bat, but it is still feasible if you're a streamer to kind of make it happen.
Yeah, and the one tip I will say, this is what I did when I started out: record 5 to 10 episodes just before you even post them or announce them. This way you have a buffer. So you put one out every week or every 2 days, however fast you can pump them out. And because for a whole month, I was just like finding guests, finding time to do it. If you're finding guests, then just make sure you offer them good times. You talk to them beforehand. Because what I do is always prep my guests. I always try to have like a pre-session. I talk to them, or if I talked to them before, I haven't talked to them before, just kind of sit down, shoot the breeze, and just loosen them up, and then just go into it. And the one thing I hate about some podcasts is I'm not a fan of like question answer formats. I like more flowy discussion formats. But that's me personally. Everyone likes their different, the different Java juice, whatever they like. So
sure. All right. So Whiteshadow, you ran Twitch Tech for a while, and you were also on True Talk for a good bit of time. So what has your kind of experience with podcasting been, and what would you say to someone who's new to it but wants to get into it?
I say find your niche first. I know that's kind of hard to do, but so like with Twitch Tech, I found a niche because I was getting tons and tons and tons of questions about like tech to use on how to enhance their streaming production value and things of that sort. True Talk was more of like the casual podcast where we'd have like a guest on and we just talk about like pop culture topics, music, all sorts of fun stuff like that when I did it with Pims. I will say it's easier to talk to somebody than to just sit there and talk to a camera. Because with Twitch Tech, it was just me, and I was spitting a ton of information at the camera and on a topic, and it can get kind of boring, and you can run out of content really quickly if you don't have everything lined up. Also, make sure you have the time to do it, because some podcasts, you can have a ton of content, and it will run like an hour to 2 hours. So I would say try to condense that into, like what Sadomi said, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, just to make it a better listening piece. Find a topic that you can find an audience for. I think there's a topic for literally everybody, but you need to have those like hook topics where you can really get people's attention. So I would just say do it. Not everybody's first podcast, second podcast isn't going to be perfect, but it's a good way to create extra content, and it's passive content, like what you always say. It's good for just anybody to click and listen when they're in the car, when they're out for a run, when they're relaxing. It's just easy content to create. So I just say do it, but find that niche, because you're going to see a little bit more success if you find the niche than just saying, I'm going to do a podcast and it's just going to be random.
Yeah, that's a good point, is trying to do a little bit of research ahead of time and thinking through what you want the identity of the podcast to be. That was really important for this podcast, and it's worked well over the years. So I definitely agree with that. Moving on here. So Vel, you've been on StreamKey for a long time now as a co-host, but I don't know if you've actually talked about this at all. You have
not really
been in the process of starting another podcast coming soon here. So you're kind of actually in this exact same spot as the person who asked the question. So what are your kind of thoughts as you're planning to start the podcast to make sure that it goes well and you can sustain it, that kind of thing?
So one thing that I like, the main thing when it comes to like me making this podcast, it's going to be, I think it's going to be called the Streamers Motivation Podcast. And then when I listen to podcasts, the best thing about them is the ones that kind of get me motivated to do something. So I know there's a lot of issues with, staying motivated to, keep streaming and keep at it, because it is a grind and everything. So I'm really, really passionate about motivation. So I'm going to be doing a podcast. It's not going to be too long, like maybe 20 minutes at the most. I think sometimes I might do longer episodes if I have other people on. like you were saying, Green, the duration doesn't necessarily matter too much because you can always just throw a podcast on, whether it's a 5-minute drive or, you know, if you have a 2-hour commute to go somewhere else, you know. So I'm just trying to find something that I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about motivation. So that's what my podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about me just trying to get you pumped up and get you in the right mindset to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. But we're going to focus mostly on streaming.
I got you. So as you're kind of planning out like topics, and I think one big question with podcasting is making sure that you can stick to it, you know, kind of like streaming, a month, 2 months, 5 months down the road. How are you making sure that you can do that?
So I guess part of it will be going through like specific stages of like streaming that I've had, whether it was the very beginning, like before I even started streaming, or, you know, through like the lowest parts of, you know, like I've done it for a while, but things aren't going the right way. Like, how do you get through that kind of stuff? And, you know, maybe other people's stories that I can get, if I can get them on the podcast, I can get like their little, because it, like, my perspective isn't always gonna affect somebody the same as somebody else's. Somebody else might have a better story towards something and have a different kind of like mentality towards it. And just getting the different perspectives will be really great as well.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned earlier too about having the variable length. I think in general, a good rule of thumb with podcasts is to start on the shorter side. And this is kind of the same thing as when you're planning out your stream schedule. Don't go way overboard and set yourself a schedule that you can't keep up with. I would always say start smaller, and then if you have a lot more time and you think you can add to it, then do that slowly and rack it up, because it's better to do that and just give more content than to have all this content at first and then just have nothing for a while, because people will lose interest. So that's a good topic too when you're starting, to make sure that it goes well. But good question, Seth Trio too. I think podcasts are awesome. Like Whiteshadow said, they're passive promotion for your stuff. So you'll find a lot of people will come check you out even when you're not live, during weekends and vacations and things. And that's just always bringing in new attention if you do it right. So I'm a big fan of that stuff. And it works well on YouTube, Instagram, everything. All right, we have a loyal viewer about to call into the show again, British Avenger. Looks like he's ready to come on.
Ooh.
So I will add him to the DM right now, and we will get this going.
Captain
Ringing
Britain.
up across the pond.
Brett.
Hello, Britt, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
How's it going, man?
It's going alright.
So what do you want to talk about in the show today?
My question is, are green screens worth it? Because I have thought in the past about it, because I know like certain like backgrounds of like your cam like can interest conversations, but where my setup is, it's kind of in an office with a bunch of boxes and bunch of stuff. So it's not really going to start any conversation. So I wonder like if green screens are kind of worth in that situation.
So I'll throw this to Whiteshadow first, obviously, with the giant green screen. What are your thoughts on green screens?
I think it has to deal with like what kind of dynamic you want for your stream. So like look at Sadomi and look at Valak. They have talking pieces in the background. Like Valak has Star Wars. Sadomi has a giant Christmas tree.
That's
blue. Yeah, it's blue. Some streamers
He just
have
learned
like
colors.
Yeah, he just learned yesterday. Like look at Dr. Lupo. He has both of his PCs in the background, and they're custom built by NZXT. Ninja has like his entire ridiculous Red Bull setup. So you have multiple different dynamics that you can utilize, or you can get a green screen and have that clean aesthetic of the game behind you. I like the green screen because I don't have any of that stuff. I'd say when I previously lived in the apartment, I had a giant living room behind me. So of course I need to cover that up because sometimes the kids were playing in the background. So I think it just depends on like what your space is and what your dynamic of the stream is going to be.
Very good. Very, very true. Sadomi, so you as someone, have you ever had a green screen before in the past?
Yes, I actually had it for well, I had a blue screen before. That did not
blue.
work out well because I didn't have the lighting for it. I will say, whichever way you go, just make it look clean. It doesn't really matter which way you go. From what's going to be better, because you can make everything look good. There are people with green screens who make the stream look really good, aka Whiteshadow over there. I forgot which way.
He's in space now, over there chilling on a planet.
and there are people who make their backgrounds look very vibrant,
Oh my God,
welcoming, like Veli. And there are people who make the backgrounds look like a really sketchy underground nightclub that sells a lot of designer drugs. Like, it all
That's what I'm
depends.
going for.
It's whatever you want to do.
Yes, whatever you want to do. But whatever you do, just make sure it looks good. Like, you can get a good green screen setup for $30 if you include the lights you need for it. I think, right? White thinks right? About $30 for a good one.
My previous one was right around $30 to $40.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. And then you can spend the money if you have it, like the resources to
Get the Elgato green screen.
Yeah, get a green screen that's designed for it. You just pick it up and pull it. And honestly, like, I would like to have a combination of both with my stream. It would take a bit of a setup to figure out how I want to do that, but
It looks so funny with the space there.
that's actually literally like that's yo, you got a creator code?
Oh my God.
Just pulling the space up and down behind him in the green screen.
Yep.
That's great.
That's the best thing ever.
Hey, wait, you got the Elgato creator code?
No. No.
I don't think he's really in space.
All right. So, Vel,
Fake news.
I don't think you've ever used a green screen, have you?
No, I
Okay.
haven't.
So, what are your thoughts on this?
I think you can do really cool creative things with them. Like, I plan on always just keeping like my main screen like this, like where I have like the stuff behind me and everything. But I have seen other streamers, I think like Frost Prime does a lot of stuff, or
Yes.
is it a Frost Prime? Yeah, Frost Prime
Yeah.
that will like get up and like go to like a different part of his room or something, but he has green screens over there, so he'll like make some like crazy scene out of it. I think there's really cool creative things that you can do with it. It all just depends on how you want your stream to look, and just do you want people to know about the things that you like? Like I really like Star Wars and all the stuff that I have behind me. So like it's a talking point, like Whiteshadow said. But that being said, it doesn't look necessarily quite as clean as it does with just like a silhouette of a person there with nothing behind them. Like that has a really cool look to it. So it's all just dependent on how you want your stream to look at first glance.
Yeah, I think there are benefits to each one. Like Whiteshadow was saying, if you have stuff behind you as a talking point, that can be very helpful. I know I always look at like Summit, for example, was a great example way back in the day with the big posters of things. People would comment on those and talk to them about different shows and things. And then on the opposite side of things, you have like there are streamers with both of these at the top of Twitch, right? You look at the Cone Carnage with the green screen, or the Ninja with the webcam. It's just a matter of how you want to use it and do with it. One quick thing I'll say is certain games actually benefit from what you're doing, or certain types of content. So, for example, I follow Smash Bros a lot, and almost all Smash Bros streamers have switched to doing a green screen because in that game there's so much happening on screen, and the layout's in a weird way that if you have a green screen and key yourself out, you actually have a lot more room to make yourself bigger. Versus if that box of your webcam, you block a lot of the info on the screen. So like that's worth thinking about if maybe it will affect your content in some way. But British Avenger, you have any other follow-up thoughts or questions on that?
No.
Cool, man.
If I will interject, there is one thing. I think if someone can pull it off, but I'm sure it can happen, doing combination would be a great way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good
so like
point.
whenever
You can mix it up, right?
Yeah, whenever you're in gameplay, you just shoop, pull that up, and whenever you're like, just chatting or something, just shoop, and stuff in the background. This way, it's like I kind of want to do that, but I'm gonna explore my options now a bit more.
Right. Actually, I think it'd be cool to mention maybe two of the biggest examples. I totally forgot about Dr. Disrespect. I mean, that guy's whole brand is built on the green screen.
Yep.
Whether he's walking into the locker or riding in the spaceship, and then you have the total other end of the spectrum with Ninja, where the whole background is all this cool stuff that is really impressive. And so you can make either one work. It's just a matter of what you want to do with it. Cool. British, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
The best
All right.
Avenger.
The best Avenger. Okay, so make sure I didn't miss any questions here in the chat. I think I got most of them. So Steamer has another question in the chat. All the good questions this week. He said, to briefly revisit the discoverability / tagging, are any of the guests aware of a way to suggest new tags that Twitch should add? I know that they've said they want you to suggest tags, but I don't know how to do it. Anybody you guys know how to suggest tags?
No.
Whiteshadow got right up there with a mic.
I thought you were gonna say suggest a tag. I was about to suggest one.
Okay, well, what tag would you suggest? That's a good question.
Halo.
But that's a game.
Dude, they have game tags. Like Call of Duty legitimately has multiple game tags now. I would say there's a lot of creative stuff on Twitch now. Like I see a lot of PC building happening. I would like to see that stuff.
There's a tag for PC building.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, never mind. You know what, guys? Whatever.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to suggest it, but I know you can. And I have seen them adding more tags to Twitch recently. They are adding to them. Probably, honestly, just hit them up on Twitter or email them or something would be good enough, and they'll add it there. But that it goes back to what we said earlier. The tagging system, it doesn't really matter if they add tags right now because it's not used anyway. So I don't know. They got to rebuild how it's used. I think actually the system's really cool in terms of tagging stuff, but they just need to do a better job of making you use it as a viewer, because right now it doesn't matter if you have the best tags out there. No one's going to click on them anyway, you know? I don't know. It's tough situation.
For tags, I think they should have like, I'm not sure there's more of a categories issue or more of a tags issue, but I feel like for some games, having a generic directory or generic tag would be good. So like Pokemon is a good example. And Halo has freaking how many games total? Pokemon,
lots. Both of them have lots.
It depends on what you count. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you have a Halo directory instead, or a Halo tag instead, it's gameplay of Halo. It could be Halo 3, Halo 4. This way it kind of brings, people together a bit more easily. And with Pokemon especially, you have people playing Omega Ruby Sapphire, people playing Silver, the originals. Like just kind of grouping those together, I think would be easier for a viewer to find. I want to watch Pokemon. And you just find, boom.
Yeah, that's true. Like a mashup of all different games in a series, sort of.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I agree with that. Well, Steamer, hopefully you figure out how to suggest tags. I would honestly just hit Twitter up and see what they say.
I just posted it in the chat, actually. Oh. That's the Google Doc for Twitch that you go suggest tags at.
There you go. You can also go rant about how useless they are there. I guess so,
this
yeah.
This was in a garbage can. I can tell this file goes straight to a garbage can. I can just tell.
Who knows? Anyway, moving on here. Okay, so I think the last question we had here from last week was from Honors, and this is actually in the TRUgaming Discord. He said, would it be... So this is someone who streams primarily on Twitch, but is interested in Mixer. So he said, would it be a good idea to stream one day a week on Mixer when playing Apex and try to grab some of those viewers to bring them to Twitch? Or is it not worth the hassle? I'm trying to try for the hype zone. What do you guys think about taking one day a week to stream on a different platform to bring in a new audience and doing the rest of it on your main platform? Vel?
I say just restream it.
That works. Sadomi, go ahead.
Yeah, no, like I was streaming on Mixer. I was doing that exact same thing. That's why for a while. I say just restream it. I mean, it's not allowed. Kind of how you can't play copyright music isn't allowed on stream. Like, I'm not saying break your contract.
None of us play copyrighted music.
Don't break the rules.
Ever.
Yeah, but I mean,
Green's a nerd.
Do what you. I've seen people do it, and I've seen a lot of people do it. So, and I'm of the mindset of if it's not really hurting anybody, if anything, it'll help you. And I think it's a small risk to take. I say just restream. Don't bother doing one day on Mixer, one day on Twitch, because then it's not even on a thing. You're gonna get either your own stuff confused. Like one day you'll be like, okay, oh yeah, wrong chat bot. Oh yeah, wrong thing. Or this way, people don't like to use Mixer because a lot of people hate using anything that's not Twitch. God, they will put you on the cross for that. So I say just double down, just restream it. It'll save you time and effort.
Despite being against the rules.
I mean, speeding's against the rules. People do it anyway.
Okay. So Whiteshadow was cringing during some of that. What were your thoughts, White?
Make your
That's a
own
hard
ninja
one,
way.
man. That's a hard one, man. Because I feel like a lot of viewers are dedicated to one singular platform. So, like, you have people over there on Mixer that will crucify you because you even mentioned the word Twitch. And then it's like vice versa. You have that over on Twitch as well. Like, if you mention, hey, I'm going to Mixer, they're like, why? So I feel like a lot of the viewers on both platforms are very dedicated to each platform, and it'd be really hard to capture that audience unless they are platform agnostic, which I don't really see happening on many of those. Because if they're on Mixer, they're there for a reason. If they're on Twitch, they're there for a reason. So capturing that audience and transferring it to another platform, and say they don't have an account made on Twitch, that's going to be another hurdle for them to go after, and they're just going to be like, it's not worth my time. That's just the way I see it.
That's fair. Sure. Vel, what do you think about this?
I totally agree with everything that everybody just said, pretty much. I think that there is a lot of animosity between people who like other platforms. It's basically like the console wars, you know what I mean? People who really like PlayStation, or at least like it used to be a bigger deal than it is now, I think. But people who used to be about PlayStation used to hate everything about Xbox and vice versa. That being said, if you are a like literal god at Apex and you think that Hype Zone will show off how like freaking amazing you are, and like you're an amazing streamer, then by all means go try that out. Like, why not try it out for a couple days and see how it goes? I don't know, like, but if you're not to that level, like if you're not amazing at Apex, people are going to care enough to come over and like go to a different platform most of the time. So you really got to be in the hype zone a lot. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be really good.
That's kind of we were talking to him in the True Discord, and pretty much everyone agreed with that idea. Is like you could do it, but people are probably not going to move over anyway. So if you want to build a platform on Mixer too, a following, then that's a different question. But if you're trying to get people to come over to Twitch from Mixer, that's probably not going to go so well. I would rather have you use that time to make YouTube videos or podcasts or just networking with other people. I think that's going to be more beneficial to you on Twitch long term than streaming more on another platform that competes with Twitch overall. But a good question, man. Thank you for asking that. I think we have gone through all the questions. Let me double check here. I'm missing. Well, Heathom asked, "Have you guys played Mordhau?" I don't know what that is. I have.
I want it so bad.
What is it?
Do you remember Chivalry?
No.
Warfare. Okay, so it's a first-person medieval warfare game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Brutal. It looks amazing. Oh my god, I want to play it so bad. I love it.
Sadomi, you have it?
Dude, I've been playing. It's weird. It's the only game where I hop into a community server, and it's the nicest gaming experience I've had with other people. Holy crap! Like,
what's the name of this game?
Mordhau. So pretty much what happens is there's different game modes. There's like there's frontline, which is 32 versus 32, just capture points. It's like an actual war. It's hilarious. Then you have like it's your deathmatch, team deathmatch, skirmish, which is like kind of Counter-Strike's format. You die next round. And just the community for Mordhau is so it's very reminiscent of, if you guys remember how Team Fortress 2 was back in 2005, 2006. Community servers, people were just messing around the entire time. Yeah, that's entirely Mordhau. Like last night, so you can be a bard in the game, right? You get loot. I was sitting there while people were dueling. We had refs, and I'm just sitting there just playing on the loot. I'm bad, and some guy looked at me, he booted me, then he killed me, and I was sad, but it was funny. So
that's awesome.
It seems so refreshing.
It is, because it's just so.
This game looks brutal.
Yeah, and like it's so ridiculous too. Like you can chop people's arms off, their heads. It's gory, but it's just so much fun. There's so much fun, and it takes a lot. There's
murder is great, right, guys?
I love them.
Wholesome podcast, by the way.
School kids.
Yeah, I fully recommend it. It was a game I didn't think I was going to want to play as much as I want to, but holy crap, it's easy to learn, hard to master kind of game.
Well, there you go, Heathom. Thanks for asking the question. Apparently, we all love this game. I think even Vince was watching it there in the booth and played that trailer music because I heard it in my ear. So I'll have to check it out
Back
too.
to work.
Get that more Halo backgrounds behind Whiteshadow stat. We need more of those.
More.
All right. Okay, cool. We got a question here from King Sizzle right on time. Says, not sure if you covered this before on a different day, but should I make generic emotes for my Twitch stream or unique emotes? Generic being mad or hype or crying. So should you make your own versions of those sort of popular emotes, or should you do something more unique in your opinion, guys? I'll start with White on this one.
In terms of the generic ones, I think you can add your own personal flair to them. Like, for instance, I'm a huge Deadpool fan, so I have a Deadpool hype emote. I mean, that's just like one of my favorite characters, and I was like, I want Deadpool holding a hype sign, so went with it. In terms of different styles, I mean, dude, emotes you can do literally anything with. Just make sure you don't break TOS, because they will ban that emote real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But emotes are a fun thing because you can show like your own personal side of you. So if you have like a favorite character or a favorite theme that you like to stick to, you can do that with your emotes and it just becomes a part of your channel. Or you can just, the sky's the limit, man. There's really everything you can do with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good point, trying to just customize the ones that are popular out there to your own channel.
Yeah.
For sure. Vel, what do you think about this?
Going off of what you literally just said, so I really like poggers. I think it's great and it's just fun to say. So I had the doggers emote that Susie just put in there. It's the yellow one that looks kind of like a dog and kind of like the poggers emote. Just because it's fun, it's a little bit different. It's just a different version of like one that's kind of popular already. But I also like putting in emotes of, you know, like, I guess the idea of just creating your own thing for your community that like might be an inside joke. I think that those are really clever too. Oh wow, that's a lot of doggers in the chat. But yeah, I think customizing popular emotes is a really good idea. Like I really like Tim the Tatman's face emote when he doesn't have a nose. So I had Susie create that exact thing with my face, and I look more like Post Malone. So that's fine too.
That's even better, really.
Be popping pillies,
Yeah.
popping pillies.
Yeah, right.
I got you. So like finding a balance of taking your own spin on things and then making very unique emotes.
Absolutely.
Nice. Sadomi, what are your thoughts on emotes?
So my emote game's lacking. I don't have like a brain for emotes. Like I like thinking they're cool, but I've never gotten like excited over emotes personally. So honestly, I just tell people what I should make. I'm sorry, other people tell me what I should make. And so right now I have my face, which everyone likes. Sadomi smirk. It's like the most. If you haven't seen it, it's like the most. What is it? I don't know. I've seen a few emotes like it. It's kind of like a kappa, but more smarky.
Sad. Snarky.
Excuse me?
What? Huh?
Call me sad? Because
Go on.
I am sad, homie.
Anyway.
But yeah, I don't know. Emotes. I'm not the guy to ask for emotes. I'll be honest. I don't really have a preference for them either way.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like you guys have said, it's smart just to capitalize on like what's popular, make your own version, but also to make your own little inside jokes for people. I think also on the topic of emotes, I always say I try to tell people to get some emote out there as soon as you can when you have that slot, and you can always change it later. It's pretty quick for the turnaround time, like maybe a couple days. So rather than waiting to get a good emote for that slot, I would say just fill something in there that's funny. It can be something you just find online or whatever that's not stealing from people's work. But that is just a good way to get people involved in subbing. And then later on, when you get a better emote or get a budget for an emote, then you can add it on later down the road. But Vince is having too much fun with these memes behind Whiteshadow up here. I don't know how he found a
Beautiful
Halo and Deadpool crossover there. That's pretty perfect there.
Whatever that is, I need it ASAP.
All right. Well, thanks for the question. That one came from King Sizzle. Appreciate it, man. Okay. So we have about half an hour left here, guys. So if you want to get questions in, now is the time. You can also join the server and call in if you would prefer. Moving on to, we're going to go through some extra topics now. And I think now is probably a good time to talk about what I was going into earlier about moving beyond Twitch as a content creator. So I've talked to Vel and Whiteshadow about this concept recently, and Sadomi, I'm sure you're making podcasts now, you're thinking about it. I kind of feel like people get too wrapped up in the idea of being a Twitch streamer, as opposed to a content creator online. And that's why you have these problems with people wanting to, bring new people to Twitch. I need more Twitch viewers. How can I get more Twitch viewers, right? As opposed to, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was explaining why YouTube is really good. And someone said, well, how do you know people are going to move over from YouTube to watch me on Twitch? And of course, that's a benefit of streaming or making YouTube content, but there's also a benefit just to making YouTube content and growing a following there and bringing yourself on multiple platforms. So I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on, since all of you started as Twitch streamers and now you've had a time over the years to try different things, whether that's podcasts or YouTube, have you kind of been moving towards a less Twitch-centric kind of business with your content, or are you still kind of attached to Twitch? Vel, what would you say?
I definitely am trying to branch out, obviously, with doing the podcast and everything. I think Twitch is always going to be my main focus because the main thing I want to do is just entertain people, and I think that's the best way to do it for me. But I think the podcast will help out with that, and I think the podcast will bring more attention over to my channel, which is the ultimate goal. I think that I'm trying to do with that is I just want to bring more people into the channel as I can. One thing that I've noticed as far as like not being on stream and getting growth is going to like conventions. Like I'm very fortunate to have gone to a lot of conventions with you guys in TRUgaming, and making those connections with people IRL has been huge. So if you get a chance to go to a convention, even if there's not like a huge Twitch following, like there's still going to be some people there, and if you can make a good connection with those people, I've made really, really good friends by doing that.
Okay, yes, even like IRL stuff and just meeting people and not really promoting your stuff as much, right? That's still beneficial. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sadomi, you've been to a lot of conventions too, and again, you've made podcasts. What are your kind of thoughts on this? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry. Every time someone tells me they want to be a full-time Twitch streamer, I'm like, why? That's horrible. I'll be miserable. Because then, like, well, one, I think that the best thing to do, and this goes back into, honestly, what I learned when I was younger, athleticism, diversifying yourself gives you better skills to be more flexible in the future. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say if you really do want to make content, like, for the rest of your life, and that's what you want to do. If you want to do that, you're going to need skills, because once Twitch dies out, or once, YouTube Apocalypse 7.7 happens, and you got that child support coming up, you gotta take on some, some different things, and that could be hosting something with GameStop, that could be running different events, and so having different skill sets, and also being available on different platforms, because you don't own Twitch. Twitch can be like, yeah, I don't like her anymore. Ban, gone, yeet, you're done. Like,
and that happens a lot, actually. People who build their whole career on that, and suddenly they get banned, and then what do you do at that point? All that work down the drain
is like one mental breakdown, and gone, donezo. So if you can diversify, or at least get your skill set to a point where you can diversify like easily, then branching out is the only option, really. You can't really do anything else.
Right. Cool. Whiteshadow, what do you think about the idea of moving beyond just Twitch and other platforms?
I think it should be everybody's end game, honestly. Because like Sadomi just said, and like we've always said, one day Twitch can go belly up and there goes everything for you. Like, that's, if you base your entire career off of one platform, you put all of your eggs in one basket, you need a fail-safe at some point. I look at people, like, I look at more established streamers like Professor Broman and King Italian. They've taken their brand off of Twitch and created one of the largest conventions that donates to St. Jude's every year, Guardian Con. They've taken their brand further than that. They created their own company. They have a coffee company. You can do different things with the platform. Like, use Twitch as a base to build everything up, but plan on taking that off and doing other things with it, doing good for like the community and things of that sort. That's, in my head, that's what I see as taking your brand off of Twitch and out into other aspects of the world, if that makes sense. YouTube is another good one. I like Ashley Christ, for instance. She's quit Twitch, went to YouTube, and then came back to Twitch afterwards and built her base there. You can do so many different things in the world now. Just don't base your career off of one singular platform.
Yeah, I like YouTube in particular because I think that's probably the best way to start if you've just been streaming on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And YouTube's really cool because, like, I look at Ninja, for example, right? Ninja has millions of subscribers on YouTube. Like, Twitch is the main thing he's known for, right? But if you look at how much following he has on YouTube, it's ridiculous. He's in the top few percent of that. And there's probably a lot of people who just watch his YouTube videos and never watch his stream. And that's still beneficial for him. That's money coming in, that's attention, that's notoriety. All that stuff's very valuable. And that's why I think that's an extreme example of why building up on multiple platforms is better. Because like Sadomi said, if Twitch has some apocalypse this year and, their own version of adpocalypse or, Article 13 affects something, whatever, having more platforms to diversify into is huge. And it also just helps you establish yourself as kind of like a media expert more than just one platform. So I just want to stress to people that's really important, and don't be so wrapped up in thinking, okay, how is this going to bring me more Twitch viewers? It could also just be, how is this going to bring me, how am I going to grow my audience online? Not necessarily restricted to Twitch, just overall. So I think that's really good. And you can have people who come to your Discord who maybe they don't watch your stream, but they watch you on YouTube and vice versa. So there's a lot of cool benefits to doing that. And I think more people should try to do so if they can. Anyway, that's a little rant, but hopefully that was helpful for you guys. We do have some questions coming in now in the chat. We have about 20 minutes left here. So Steamer says, do your guests do their own artwork, hire artists, or use offshore services like Fiverr? Interesting. So for you guys, graphics, you all have some sort of graphics. Start with Vel. What do you do for your graphics? How do you get them?
I have a guy that I've been contacting for graphics for the last 2 years. I've used the same human being. He's done really well. I had to clarify that he's not a robot. That's what we do on the internet. Okay, calm down. But yeah, I just have the same guy. He was a friend of a fellow streamer, Pims. For those of you that don't know, I'm assuming more of you guys do know. But anyway, but yeah, I just use the same guy. And if I see something that I like, I'll throw it his way. I'll be like, hey, can you use this as inspiration? And he's actually working on some stuff for me probably right now.
Nice. How'd you find him initially? Through Pims, you said?
Yeah, through Pims, because Pims was saying that his buddy did graphics and stuff, and because I really liked Pims' overlay at the time.
So finding artists through other streamers is a good way to do that if you're looking for somebody with credibility.
Yeah,
Cool.
Absolutely.
So Domi, how did you get your artwork and all your stuff on your stream? You muted again, bud.
Sorry, I was moving my mic. Didn't want to have that going. So, but I think 95 to 99% of everything I do myself. And right now, I'm going through my redesign. My main focus is I want to do all the outlines myself because I want everything where I want it to be so I can place everything where I need it to be, and then kind of push out to find somebody who's good, who knows how to draw the line straight. But yeah, I've done most of my stuff. I use paint.net because it has easy transparencies. I've been using that program for years. And surprisingly, I'm always surprised at how good my stuff comes out when I do it myself. When I don't really have that arty training, so I kind of like doing it for the own personal. I made this. I can show everybody, hey guys, I made this. Look, I'm special. I made this. So that's why I do it myself. But I do want someone who actually knows how to draw a line straight and make things look pretty. Do it at some point.
Yeah,
probably
I got you. I think you can definitely get away with some really simple stuff when you're starting, even if you don't have the most artistic ability. You can even just repurpose things online. Like I've showed before, you can make really basic overlays that look pretty good with just finding square boxes and just stacking them on top of each other. So no drawing required. It's just placing things in OBS. Whiteshadow, how about you with your art, man? Oh, sorry, Sadomi.
I'll add one thing too. If you're just starting out, a really good tip for you is at least have your camera, if you don't have a green screen, have it outlined, but have it just not really a bright color, not really a dark color. Just have even the simplest thing, a black shadow that kind of goes outward and fades out will make it look 10 times better. Add some depth instead of just a very jarring square on a different background.
Right. Absolutely. Whiteshadow, how'd you get your art, man?
Basically same thing that Vel did. I contacted a designer and had them design stuff for me. Starting out, I did things very, very backwards. I had like all of my graphics paid for and like all of that stuff done, built a super high-end PC, and then went at it. Most people start out on console, so of course you're not going to have graphics. But yeah, I just hired a designer and had them do my stuff and had it like customized personally to me. Some people, if you're starting out, use Nerd or Die or one of these like pre-built systems and kind of form it like what you said, because they give you the source files, kind of form it to your own color scheme and brand if you can.
Right.
But there are now starting out as a streamer is easier than what it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even with Streamlabs OBS, they have built-in overlays and things now that you can use, and they're pretty good.
Yep.
So that's a good way to start too. That's how I started initially, was just finding stuff online and repurposing it. And honestly, I had never paid for art with my own stuff. I've just repurposed stuff and edited it, and it works pretty well for most things. So you can definitely make that work if you want to as a streamer. Good question for that steamer. I appreciate you, man. Next question is again from King Sizzle. He says, all right, so a mix. Should I focus more on what the chat might use? This is for his previous question. What did he ask about earlier? I've lost. Here we go. Okay, he was asking about the emotes, to recap. Whether to use generic ones or to use kind of like specific ones. So should I focus on what the chat might use it for, or just make emotes for myself? Maybe you mentioned this with the filler emotes, but maybe go more in depth. So should you make emotes that you like or that your chat will use as a streamer? This is pretty clear for me, but I'm curious. Sadomi, what do you think?
Again, I'm not the emote guy, but from what I know is, like, if I'm not going to use them, and if I'm getting them done, I want someone to use them. So if my community wanted one that I hated, I probably wouldn't be like, yeah, but I definitely would be like, if you guys like it, like, yeah, we'll get it made. Y'all can use it. Like, if someone funded a mic muted emote, I would hate it, and I'll ban whoever uses it, but I'd still let you use it. Oh, actually, I'll just cut you. I'll just cut somebody probably.
Trade off, understandable. Yeah, people still do it probably.
I'll just cut them.
Vel, what do you think about this?
Definitely want your viewers to use them. Like, I think that's really important. You can get subs from people who don't even care about you as a content creator if your emotes are on point. Like, if they're that funny and like they stand out that much, you can definitely get subs from people that will probably like sometimes never even stop by your channel. And like, that kind of sucks that they're never going to stop by your channel, but if that gets you an extra $250 a month just for having an emote on there, then why not? Like, why not try to have like the best emotes that you can for everybody to use?
Right. And just makes subbing even more of an incentive, right? If people want to use those. Cool. Whiteshadow, your thoughts?
Like, yet again, regarding emotes, I think what I did is I had my community, I got them involved, and it was like, hey, what emotes do you want to see on the channel? I let them vote on them. I would say still make them kind of form to your theme of the channel, just to keep everything uniform. But yeah, it's for your viewers. It's not for you. Like, you're barely ever going to use them on Twitch at all unless you're raiding somebody. Like, I use mine during raids, and that's it. Just try to make your viewers happy. But for me personally, I try to keep it still somewhat to the theme of my channel at the same time, which is easy to do. But yeah. Just like what the other two guys said, it's for the community, man.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the question. Once again, that was King Sizzle. Appreciate that, man. Okay, so I want to talk about something while waiting for any last question, guys. Last call for questions, about 15 minutes. I want to talk about something that I meant to get to before, and Vel brought it up, sort of, made me think about it, when we talked about the Twitch Sing stuff that he did a couple weeks back. But this is just the idea of challenging yourself with your stream and doing something that kind of is uncomfortable or scares you, but either people want to see or you feel like you should do. And so I'll start with Vel on this one. You can talk about this or some other example if you want to, but in general, like, I think this might be helpful for people just to think about ways to challenge themselves.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know about the Twitch things that happened a couple weeks ago, it will be happening again at some point today. So,
oh gosh,
if you want to be there, I guess, to see me scream Creed songs, then by all means join in. But so during all of this like it was just a regular stream, and I was just playing Siege, and somebody, I think it was Tiff, mentioned something about I should do some Twitch things. I'm like, no. They're like, well, how much money? And I'm like, well, you put it in money. Let's see. And I totally undersold it. I did 1,000 bits per song. I was like, nobody's gonna do that. 1,000 bits for a song, and like that happened tenfold. So, so that happened, and then I had a whole 2 to 3 hour segment of me doing Twitch things, and the entire time I was not comfortable. It was a really, really rough time for me, but I know it's what they wanted, and I had views, and everybody was having fun at the end of the day, and like that's what I wanted to make sure it was that people were at least enjoying it. And I could tell that like the people that were laughing weren't necessarily laughing at me, like because I have like a huge problem with like being bullied back in the day, and so I could tell that they were just like having a good time, and that's ultimately what matters, and that's what it comes down to when it comes to entertaining. And it was rough, and I was like shaking after that stream ended. But I think it's really important to push yourself and, you know, like kind of push the limits of what you're comfortable with, because like the day after that, when I did like the next regular stream, I was confident as shit, dude. Like I was like, I'm not singing today. Like I'm just like yesterday I killed it on something that like I hated every second of it, but it went really, really well. And it just boosts your confidence so much, which is such a huge part of streaming, that like it helped me out so much more than I can even explain. So definitely push your limits, do things that make you uncomfortable, because you will 100% grow from them by a lot.
Right. And you're glad you did it in the end, right? After getting
even though I was trembling on the inside.
Right. Well, that's kind of similar to the podcast too that you're starting. I know that like that was sort of the same thing. I think just thinking through ways to challenge yourself is really good, because it's easy to get into a rhythm with Twitch and do the same thing, especially if it's not working and maybe you have an idea of something, but it's going to be hard, or you're not sure if it's going to pan out, so you don't do it. So I think talking about ideas like this is really helpful. Sadomi, do you have any instances of that with your own content?
So I hate horror games. I don't watch horror movies. I don't play horror games. If it's scary, I'm dairy. I'm out. I'm gone.
Scary, I'm dairy. Okay.
I forgot what the circumstance was, but about a year ago, I got coerced into playing a horror game. SCP Containment Protocol. I made it 10 minutes before I defecated in my pants. I fell out of my chair. I cracked my headphones, and I fell on the ground crying. And it's probably my favorite clip I've ever made in my entire life.
Wow. That's very extreme.
I ran into my girlfriend's room and cried for 5 minutes before I went back on stream.
Interesting. So
and I've learned from that, no is the most powerful word in the English language, and it's the only word that will hold you back. Say yes to the dress. Say yes. Sometimes just doing something will... Think about it, because if you don't do something, you didn't do it. If you do something, well, now you know you didn't do something. Now you know you didn't like it, but at least you had the opportunity. Because if you say no too often, then no one's going to be around you. Like, no makes you... Let me phrase that. No is a word that has a lot of power, that can create a lot of... that creates boundaries.
So basically you're saying if there's something that kind of scares you but you're not sure of, it's better to try it and fail than to not try it at all.
Yeah, just do it. Like,
gotcha.
Why not? I
agree with that. The very extreme example, but yeah. Whiteshadow, have you had this happen in your own content or thought through this at all?
Yeah, actually recently with so this is kind of a challenge that I kind of put on myself, is to stream one game and one game only for the rest of this year, and that's Halo. And doing that because I have always been like a variety type person. Like I was playing Destiny, I was playing Fortnite, I was playing Call of Duty, just like playing whatever the heck I felt like in any given day. And I got used to that cycle. And so sticking with one game, I'm like, all these new games are coming out, I want to play them, but I'm just going to stick to Halo. So it's a bit different than like Villock or playing like a horror game like Sadomi said, but it's the fear of, what if I don't grow? But I'll never know if I don't try really sticking to this one game and seeing if I can make myself better at that. And better known within the Halo community like I once was if I don't try. So it's more of like a growth thing for me in terms of sticking with one game.
Yeah, I think game choice is a really good example of that, because I don't know, there's a balance, because you don't want to choose something that you're going to hate, but I think there's probably a lot of people who could stand to stream one game for a while and they know it'll work, but maybe, some days are going to be tougher than others. I think that's a moment where you can actually challenge yourself to make that push and see if it makes a difference. That's a good example, I would say. As well as Vel's example of maybe there's a certain type of content that you want to do once, or, Sadomi, like doing a scary game, doing something singing or a podcast, something that could like be different for your content that makes a difference, but you're a little bit nervous about doing it, and trying it can really make a difference with your stream. So I think that's important to talk about in general. Cool. Any other questions here? Driz is asking about some drama. We're not going to cover that today because there was some YouTuber streamer drama stuff, but I don't usually cover that unless it pertains a lot to streaming. And in this case,
yeah, and that's YouTube. We don't mess. We don't deal with that.
Not too much.
That's the enemy.
Okay. So I think I see one question here from Stevie TV. This is probably our last question for the day. It said, guys, I'm really struggling to make my significant other understand what streaming is and what it means to me. That it's not childish and not a waste of time. Do you guys think it is possible? Interesting. We talked about this a little bit before, but Vel, do you have any thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, when I first started streaming, she was my girlfriend at the time. Now she's my wife, so clearly I was able to convince her. And so she thought it was just the dumbest thing. She was like, "This is so stupid. Like, you're just coming up with an excuse to play video games." And I'm like, I mean, kinda, but but I was like, I was really enjoying it. I was having a lot of fun, and you got to explain how passionate you are about something. Because if they don't know that you're passionate about it, they'll never understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to explain it almost every day. I was like, she would say, "Oh, I'm really excited for you," but I could tell that she just honestly didn't give a shit. And so I was like, you know how you like books and how you like nerdy shows like Doctor Who or whatever. Well, I like streaming and video games and but more than you do. I had to try to make it seem like I like this more than she likes anything, because she just 100% didn't understand how passionate I was about this cool new thing that I was doing. And you just have to try to explain how passionate you are about it. You have to prove it to her, and you have to prove it to her by grinding it out every day and then seeing the outcomes from it. When she didn't like it for the longest time, but I had a good week one week, and she's like, okay, maybe I'll be onto this, maybe I'm on board. And then we started growing more of a following, and then I got her to meet some of the people that were watching me, and then she started understanding what it was all about. But it takes time, and it's just all about expressing how passionate you are about it.
Yeah, that's really true. I like that you mentioned it mattered when you got that good day, right? So
absolutely,
you have to have something to stand on, right? It's all good to say what you want to say out of your mouth, but once you have proof and results to show, that makes a difference.
Right, because to me, it's not about the money, but if someone's gonna give me shit about, oh, you're just playing video games all day, yeah, and I made this much money the other day, so what are you gonna do now? What's your argument? You know what I mean? To me, it doesn't matter, but I'll rub it in somebody's face if they're gonna be a hater about it.
It's not your focus, but having that there is undeniable. It's something concrete to argue with there.
Absolutely,
not argue, but to show.
Yeah. Nope. Argue.
Always fight. Sadomi, have you ever been in this situation, or any advice in this?
So I actually met my girlfriend through Twitch, so it kind of was just, that part was easy. The hard, it's whenever I tell people kind of what I do, because the way I view it is my basic job I have now is, to me, I just do that so I can pay bills. Okay. The one thing I really care about, as someone say what my real job was, I'd say it was working on stream stuff, but I go here to make money. And people take that as well, you're a fucking bum. You need to, and it's listen, I'd rather do something I like and put my effort into that than do something I don't want to do. Because at that point, what's the point of living? You're just a slave to somebody else's, desires in life. And so one thing that a lot of people don't get that either is a lot of people view life strictly in terms of dollar bills and what they know. So people view video games as a recreational activity, where streaming, I think the least amount of work that goes into streaming is the actual games itself. Like everything else is, takes effort and work, and people don't see that. They just see you sitting there playing games, talking to people, and they're like, "You're not doing anything contributing to society. So what are you doing?" And so what I did to convince people is not bother, but with your SO, it's a whole different situation. Someone you probably live with, someone you're spending your time with. And in that case, it could be a mixture of a lot of different issues. It could be them wanting to spend more time with you, because especially working a full 40-hour job, if you're also streaming on the side, and if your schedules don't line up perfectly, like how are you gonna make time for that relationship? That's a really big one. And for me, the only advice I can give to somebody is figure out what you want and figure out what the other person wants and do your best to make good compromises for that. Because no matter what, you're going to need a very supportive partner if you're going to pursue streaming as more than just like a get on stream when you can kind of thing. So communication is the number one thing. Like just say, hey, I want this. What do you want? Okay, then I want to do this and I want to do that. And sometimes if things don't go the way you want them to go, you're gonna make sacrifices. But it's on you to figure out what kind of sacrifices you want to make.
Right. Yeah, that's really good points right there. Definitely the compromise side too, because it's a relationship, right? It's not one-way street. If you're in a relationship, you're gonna have to have situations like that more than likely. So, yeah. Whiteshadow, what are your thoughts on this?
Basically everything those two said. You've got to show your partner, whoever that may be, this is something you're passionate about. This is something you like to do and you like to enjoy. Something that I did on my side was I got her involved. I showed her firsthand, hey, these people can be friends for life. They support us, and just try to get her involved as much into the community as humanly possible. Like she'll pop into chat and she'll come hang out with some of the streamers or the viewers they've gotten to know her personally. It's just like Valak said, gotta kind of drill it. Like, this is my passion. This is my passion. This is my passion. And we all, as a married couple, you all have to have the things that you like to do separated from each other. And this is just so happens that I like to do for myself. And so you got to show that to your partner. I mean, there's not really anything else I can say on that front, but it's just you have to show that you're passionate about it and that this could potentially become something if that's the route you want to go.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think like everyone feels this to some level. It might not be with your significant other, but it could be like your parents or your extended family or even friends that kind of like look down on it just because it's so new. And I think you're going to have to deal with this at some point. I think it's especially tricky when it is your significant other and someone that's that close to you. So it's not going to be easy for sure, especially, I mean, it depends on the type of person. Like if you have like Whiteshadow, able to incorporate the person with you in the stream, that's awesome. But I know like my wife would never want to be part of my stream. So that's an example. It's just sort of like knowing the person, and like they've all said, it will take time. Don't expect them to accept it overnight. But, if you're in a good relationship with someone who supports you, then eventually they should kind of see why you're passionate about it and just, be patient with it, I would say, overall.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to be the last question for today. So thank you guys all for coming out and watching the show. We'll go around and do some sign-offs really quick. First of all, Whiteshadow, thanks for coming out, man. Anything you want to say or plug before we head off?
Not really. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, Valak and Sadomi. You guys can catch me live Monday through Friday on my personal channel. You guys know where to find me.
All right, there you go. Check them out, guys. Next up is Sadomi. Thank you as well for coming out again and telling us those great stories. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
I love all you people. I do. Thanks for being awesome. That's the main thing. I'll be streaming later today once I get some food and walk this dog over here. She's been kind of like antsing, so we'll do that. I'll be sitting there talking, so if you want to continue any conversations, ask any questions, I'll be a lot more vulgar, so just FYI. But yeah, feel free to roll on through. Sadomi on Twitch. I'll just type into chat. Y'all know me.
There you go. Check it out. If someone can plug Whiteshadow's link in there as well, that'd be awesome. Wait, you can do it if you want to. And Vel, last but not least, anything you want to say before we sign off here?
One quick thing that I just saw in the chat that I found hilarious was Mr. Smoke just called the True Bucket a garbage can with eyes. Amazing. Amazing. Somebody get that man an award.
Can I just say, I've noticed that we're getting like a civil war happening now. There's like Team Bucket and Team Chevy happening in chat. We might have to make... There's already versus stuff coming. That could be fun. Anyway, cool. Anything else you want to say, Vel?
I'm Velok, and I play games and sometimes sing Creed or Scream Creed on Twitch Sings. And yeah, so you can find me at VELOKK_TV.
Nice.
I'm a fat guy and I play games
and sing Creed
and Scream Creed. Scream.
Are you streaming right after this?
Yes.
Okay. Blaze up.
Blaze up. Always.
Right.
Always blaze up.
Always blaze up. Yep. We'll probably raid Vel after this, so you guys can check that out if you want to see him blaze up. And with that, I think we're going to sign off for the show this week, guys. So thank you for coming out. We'll be back here next week, next Friday, as always, with more Stream Key. And week after that, actually, will be a charity stream. So stay tuned for that. We'll have Stack Up in the office with us for the podcast. That's going to be super cool. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming out. And blaze up, as always. That's going to be the sign off, I guess.